Hey guys, it's Animelover and I'm back with another video. So we're back with another reviewing video because I have a lot of stuff and I need to get through them. So our mom bought us basically more stuff from Temu. Didn't ask for this, she just gave it to us and I'm like, okay, cool. The only problem with this is normally I'm very excited to see what she got us. Not this time. So she got us this. And if you read right here, it says glow in the dark. So I have no idea how these are going to work. I don't know if they're going to be I don't have a clue of how these are going to work. So yeah, and there's not a lot of colors. So whatever I do cannot have a lot of colors, and might add, they're all ugly saturated colors. So yeah, that's a fun time for me. At least it's the rainbow. It's just at the same time, why did I have to put in this one order? But yeah, I have to figure out what to do with this. I have no clue. It's been sitting there for like a good minute, and I have no idea what I have to do with it. So I guess let's get into this watching and see how these work. So when making this video, I had no idea what type of markers these were. I actually thought these were going to be like normal markers and stuff like that. And then I find out, no, I think they're paint markers or something. But whatever they are, you have to push the tips, basically, which is kind of like paint markers. And I was very surprised. I'm not going to lie. I was like, oh, that is not at all how I thought this was going to go. But, maybe it won't be that bad. It was bad. It was really bad, actually, of it being like this. As they were very tacky and very, sticky feeling, and they took forever to dry. So, that was annoying all on its own. So, obviously, I put all the colors down, and I was testing them, and found out, oh, none of the colors match at all what the markers look like. They are much more pastel when you all saw the markers in the beginning and how they were very saturated and very much just brighter and darker-ish kind of colors. These are just straight pastel, and I was like, oh, okay, so that's fun. That's gonna be a fun thing. And then I was like, okay, well, these are paint markers and they must be able to go over black or go over any type of thing. No, they could not. They were very much transparent. And I was like, okay, then what are they for? I know they're to add color, not color, but add color and do glow in the dark stuff, but it at the same time, they're kind of pointless in a way with at least kind of making things pop out. So that was very much interesting. And I was like, okay, how am I going to go about this? So I also tried layering them on each other, if I could blend them. No, couldn't do that. They hated doing that at all. I then tried seeing how many layers they could do, and again, hated that. Absolutely hated my paper. Was already trying to rip up the paper within one layer, and I was like, oh, okay. So from what I noticed was when you first put it down and you don't let go kind of thing, it works fine. It won't rip up the paper. But the moment you let go of the paper and then you try going back over that, it says no, absolutely not. So when you color, you need to make sure you get every single part colored in, or it's not going to work and it's going to look absolutely atrocious. If you try, because it's going to just rip up the paper, it's going to make some parts much more blotchy and all that. We also did try to do it in the dark. You guys can't see it on video, but it you can faintly see it. But we turned our lights off and then got Fangirl's flashlight and tried to show it on camera if they glowed in the dark. In person, you can see that they glow in the dark, but it was so faint. They were barely glowing in the dark, and I was like, okay, so they kind of work. They kind of work as advertised. But at the same time, no, they don't. They really don't. And unfortunately, it is very hard to see in video. Like I said, in person, you can see them. On camera, no. So the drawing part of this, I very much had no idea what I wanted to come up with, as this was during a time where I had these sitting around and I was going to do them, but I also had no ideas of what I was doing. And I was like, okay, how am I going to go about this? So what am I going to do? And stuff like that. And I couldn't think of anything. But the only thing my brain could think of was a flower. For some reason, these colors gave off heavy flower vibes to me. And so I was like, okay, let's do a flower. And so that's what I decided to go with. But in the process, I was like, well, I don't want to just do a flower. And so I was like, okay. What if we make it space kind of flower? Like, it's weird and mutated looking. Okay, that could work. And then I was like, okay, what if I put aliens? And that's what I did. I put little blob aliens in the drawing. And I was like, yes, that's the way I want this drawing to go. And that's what I decided to do. So that is what you all get. It is not the best drawing. I'm not a huge fan of it later, but it's at least a concept and something to test the markers out on. Okay, let's consider the pros and cons of this, and we'll start with the pros, as there are not many of them. So, the colors, even though they were very, weird color looking and very, pastel-y and, did not match their caps at all kind of stuff, they were still very pretty, and I very much did like them. My favorite colors were very much it's supposed to be the red, but it looks more like a pink. I very much liked the red and the purple. Those are actually one of my two favorite colors, and I wish I added more of them in the drawing, but I'm glad they kind of got a center kind of point in the drawing. I very much liked those colors. Another thing that I kind of liked was that we did get the whole rainbow. I very much was glad there was no duplicates in colors and stuff like that, and it was just the full rainbow. It did make it hard to have as limited colors as we did, but I did appreciate the full rainbow. I also will say they did do their job and glow in the dark. Even though it was very poorly that they glowed in the dark, they still glowed in the dark. So that I can at least say they do glow in the dark. Sort of. Now, let's get to the cons. So, yeah, they glow in the dark all right. No, they don't. It's so faint that they glow in the dark. You have to shine a flashlight on them to really get them to glow in the dark. And then, even if they do get to that point of being able to really glow in the dark, they only last there for, maybe 15 seconds before fading away and being done. It's nah, peace out, I'm done being glow in the dark kind of thing. And if it don't, I wouldn't use these for glow in the dark. That's how much I would not use these for the intended purpose of using glow in the dark. I would just use them for the colors, and that would be it. Another thing that I really hate, and I say this in every video, and I repeat it every single video that I do of reviews, is the packaging sucked ass. I hated this packaging so much. It was awful kind of thing. I don't like plastic container packaging, as it is very hard to keep that stored, and sometimes when it breaks you have to just get rid of it nonetheless. And at that point you might as well just make packaging that is I can just reuse it constantly, and I think that would just be better. And unfortunately that packaging did not be like that, and I hated it. Another thing that very much ticked me off was that you could only do one layer, and I mentioned this obviously in the color swatching and all that, but it very much did not like going over itself, and it very much would like eat up the paper if I tried, and I was like, ugh. And even if it didn't do that, if you tried going over it again, it tried like sticking and being tacky with each other, and it just was bad when you tried layering like it over itself multiple times, and it was very hard to use. Another thing was that it left a sticky feeling on the paper after being dried or being in the process of drying. Obviously, it made sense, well, the drying part, because it's drying, so obviously it's going to be tacky. But it shouldn't leave a tacky feeling while it's dry. It was very weird. It also, like, lifted off the paper a bit, so, like, it wasn't just flat on the paper. It felt like there was a texture now on the paper. Like, if I rub my hand against where I put it, I could feel like a bump. So it's like paper, bump, bam, kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, that's weird, but okay. I mean, I guess because it has to do with what it is, but other than that, it was just weird that it did that. Another thing was that they dried super quickly, weirdly enough. Like, I had to push multiple times down just to get, like, any of, like, ink, I think it's ink, whatever these, like, what's in this kind of stuff out, and it was just really annoying of how dry they got when I was using them, and I had to do that multiple times, and it's already hard when you can only do one layer, so it's like, you can't let go, no, and then they tried dying on me. I'm like, no, stop doing what you're doing. It was very irritating. Obviously, none of the colors matched their original, like, caps, and that was really weird that we just got pastel kind of stuff. And if anything, they just looked like highlighters. Like, if I wanted to use highlighters, I would have just used highlighters and not these. That's how much I'm just like, these suck. I would have just used highlighters, honestly. Would have probably been better. I'm gonna be honest with you all. Another thing was that they were transparent, and I was not a huge fan of that. Because when I saw that they were, like, a paint marker kind of look, I was like, oh, so these are going to be opaque. And then I find out, no, these are not opaque. And I'm like, oh, okay, so that's going to be fun. So, like, when I'm trying to color in a spot, that's great. Because it means it's not going to cover up the black line art that I did, which is awesome kind of thing. So it makes coloring a little bit easier in that standpoint. But if I wanted it to, like, go over something, I really expected it to have, like, been more, like, opaque in that aspect. Because they looked opaque when I put them down for the color swatching on white paper. But the moment you try putting it on anything else, it was like, no. Okay, so that was fun. And honestly, while doing this, I struggled so much while just coloring, because I had to color like not a toddler, but like a kid. I had to color like a kid and just do scribbles. And I was not a huge fan because I couldn't fully color it in without it trying to rip up the paper or it like being that tacky feeling. And it was just really hard. And I just had to just go with the flow of making it very much just scribbles. And I think it kind of looks good, but I'm not a huge fan of the drawing at all. Like, I think I got it to look decent, but it shouldn't have been as hard as it was to use. And I get it. It's Temu things. Temu sucks with anything that it makes at times. Not all the time, but a good portion of the time. And I was just like, ugh, awful kind of thing. So these did not have any high hopes when I first used them and near the end of using them. So... and I probably will not use these again. That's how much I did not like these. I might use them until they're dead or not use them at all. I don't know yet. Honestly, I don't really like them. So, you know, since we're getting close to the end of the video, I'm going to do a self-promotion because, well, I can. So if you guys are interested in getting exclusive or early access art, then please go check out our Patreon. We have a bunch of stuff on there, and we try to post as much as possible and basically as frequently as possible. So if you're interested, go check it out. If you're also interested in getting commissions from us, then we have commissions, yachas, and a bunch of stuff on our Ko-fi. So if you're interested in that, also check out that. If you're also, like, interested in getting, like, adopts or, like, custom adopts, then go check out our Toy House or our Adopt account. If you're interested specifically in custom adopts, then you can either DM me or Fangirl. We basically are always open to basically do custom adopts for people. All links will be linked down in the description down below, so if you're interested, go check them out there. If you guys did enjoy this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye! Bye!